Okay, start Elizabeth.
Hello, good evening. My name is Elizabeth, and I am your presenter to this evening. And I am presenting the the Internationally Educated Nurse Orientation Program at ISANS. And with me this evening, Moja Alia, the Manager for Employment and Bridging, and as well Tanya Matthews, the Senior Team Lead for the Employment and Supervising Team Lead for the Employment and Bridging team. So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
And thank you so much, East Coast Filipino Portal, for hosting this evening. I am happy to present to you, um, give you a brief outline about the licensure pathways that most of the internationally educated nurse go through in order to get licensure in Canada, and at the same time, talk to you about the programs that are present at ISANS that are being accessed by immigrant nurses throughout their licensure pathways. Next, please. So the program at ISANS provides the client information about the pathways to licensure. We'll be talking about the foundations for nursing practice for internationally educated nurse, the adult health assessment workshop at the nursing lab, structured weekly study group, the topic is specific nursing educational sessions, the online learning resources and ISANS healthcare libraries, information about alternative careers, professional mentoring, and the collaboration with the communications and language team at ISANS, as well as the support from the multi-stakeholders IEN work group. Next slide. To give you a brief information about the licensure pathways for internationally educated nurses for LPN, that's the licensed practical nurses. A lot of the immigrant nurses may not be familiar that in Canada, we have three different kinds of nurses, and that is the licensed practical nurse, the registered nurse, and the nurse practitioners. So most of our immigrant nurses that arrive from different parts of the globe, all of you are labeled as registered nurses. But when you arrive to Canada, because nursing is a regulated profession, you will have to go through the licensure pathways. So those are the three choices that you can apply for: the licensed practical nurse, and the nurse practitioners. So just to give you a brief, I have here a presentation that was lifted from the Nova Scotia College of Nursing. And this is very well presented because it does include the timeline when you are going to start with the NNAS, including the requirements, including the cost that is involved as well. So for the licensed practical nurses, there are I will just give you a brief introduction to this one because the pathways is as simple as you can see it here in the presentation. But to go through the requirements, you really have to go through the website of the Nova Scotia College of Nursing to understand the specific requirements that are requested for you to submit. For those, this is one thing, and this is very common among immigrant nurses about documents. The documents that you have to submit to the from assessment to throughout the process when you get to the steps submitting your requirements and documents to the regulatory bodies in your province of choice, it has to be in an English language. So that is a common problem among nurses who are bringing documents that are not translated. If you are going to have your documents translated in Canada, you will have to find a certified translation agency that could verify your that could certify um, your documents to be translated in English language. And that will be very costly for you. So if you are coming from abroad and you are planning to go through the licensure pathways, it is advisable for you to have your documents already in English uh, form. So, so here, once you have an applicant applies to the National Nursing Assessment Services. This is the national nursing assessment body that receives your documents. Again, the requirements, and it will take you at least 1 year for the timeline. And then the applicant receives the advisory report. Once the applicant receives the advisory report, it will be forwarded to the applicant's choice of province where he or she wants to practice. And here you can see all the costing involved. Now, there are three reports that you could possibly be receiving. And uh, when the regulatory body in your province, for example in Nova Scotia, the NSCN for the College of Licensed Practical Nurses, next slide please, you will be given the option for Route 1, Route 2, and Route 3. So for the Route 1, I will just get here. For the Route 1, the applicant can be eligible to take the CPNRE exam and take the jurisprudence exam. And while you're doing that, you are eligible to apply for a conditional license. And on this part of the presentation, you can see the involved costs as well. And for the Route 2, the applicant the applicant is required to successfully complete the what we call the substantive equivalent competence assessment, or sometimes the applicant can be assessed to take the nursing reentry program. The SECA is given in 2 days, whereas the reentry program is a 1 year program that you have to complete through the Nova Scotia Community College. Now, some of the IENs take the LPN route first based on how they assess themselves. This is not something that we can advise, uh, but we are here because it is the IEN who knows what they wanted to do and how they feel about the requirements that they submit. Some of the IENs, for example, uh, they don't have that enough experience to when they move to Canada, and they are aware that they will be learning so much in order to understand the standard of nursing practice in Canada. So this will dictate to them whether they are going to challenge the SICA, which is a 2-day exam, or go for the reentry program, which will give them the opportunity to learn more, bring back their nursing knowledge from where they came from, and integrate it to what they need to know in order to practice as licensed practical nurses in Canada. Now, for the Route 3, um, the applicant I have heard from presentations from our colleagues from the NSCN that this is very seldom happen, but it is put in place because there are those very like occasional cases where there will be an applicant who will be ineligible for registration and licensure to practice nursing in Nova Scotia. And if this happens, they will have to either go and explore other opportunities where they can either take some alternative career, or if they really love to work as a nurse, explore the opportunity to enroll and start their nursing education in Canada. Is there any question from the chat that I might be missing?
There
We
is one.
yeah, about the
Okay,
funding. It's about the AIC loan program, right?
okay. I will touch about the this that is a very important um, program that is linked to the licensure pathways for nurses, because if you can see, look, have a look, this yellow box here, these are all including the costing that the IEN will have to prepare when they go through the licensure pathways. So I will link the AICLF, the loan fund, when I finish the registration, the licensure pathways for the RN. Can I
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, and I just want to answer very quickly because someone is asking about the
Oh, okay.
length of being in Canada. It doesn't matter how
Okay.
long you have been in Canada. You can be here for more than 10 years and you're still eligible to apply for the loan program as long as you are landed immigrant Canadian citizen or landed immigrant.
Okay. Next slide, please. Oh, it's for the nurses. Yeah. This one, if you can look at this presentation here, this is the pathways for licensure for registered nurse in Nova Scotia. The same thing, this is a very legible pathways that will include the costing and timeline. So, I will invite you to go and visit the website for NSCN for this. And what I would like to point out here is most of the question that IENs ask would be, am I going to apply for LPN and RN? So the answer would for that would be something that the IEN will have to understand. Um, the LPN, they have LPN and RN have different scopes of practice. So most of the IENs apply for LPN first because they're not sure of what they really want, where to practice, which scope of practice they feel comfortable. However, because they have the safe practice that they are trying to contain within that timeline, they wanted to apply both for LPN and RN as a guarantee. And and their plan being that they wanted to, as a stepping stone, use LPN and registered and work, and while earning they are gaining more exposure, then they apply as RN uh, to register to practice as registered nurses. To most, that is a wise decision, but again, that those individuals make those decisions based on the knowledge that they bring, the experience that they bring, the credentials that they bring. Please be mindful that when you apply for LPN and RN, there are the associated costs. So same for at the same time, when you apply um, for those for those for LPN or RN, you can also apply um, request NNAS to apply across provinces. You're allowed to do that. And I hope that you will choose Nova Scotia when you consider applying to become a licensed nurse here in Canada. Um, so here in the registered nurse, the same thing, you will have to go through the application for the NNAS, and then The applicant receives the advisory report. Wait, one very important thing. Excuse me. I will have to inject this. The one very important thing when you apply to become a nurse in Canada is the English proficiency test score, and those are required when you send your application to NNAS, and it could either be the IELTS or the CELBAN. Now, these are two different tests, but both are accepted for the application to licensure in Canada. When you have submitted your requirements to NNAS, the NNAS now starts your assessment, and then your advisory report will be sent to NSCN for Nova Scotia. Now, for Nova Scotia, it's very straightforward that your English proficiency test result will you will have to meet the English proficiency test result for either IELTS or CELBAN. And once the assessment is completed and the advisory report is sent to NSCN, NSCN will now do their own assessment, and the applicant could either be given the three options. Next slide, please. So the same thing, there's route 1, route 2, and route 3. For the route 1, the applicant is eligible to take the NCLEX RN exam and the jurisprudence exam, and then able to apply the conditional license and work as a nurse. The jurisprudence exam is in every province. Please know that in Canada, every province has every IEN that practices in each province. They have to take jurisprudence exam because every province is different. Now, the cost for NCLEX, and in the yellow box, it tells you the cost for the NCLEX RN. And if you are going to take the NCLEX, there is the corresponding fee as well involved, including the application for a conditional license. So when you have the conditional license, you can practice as graduate nurse while you are waiting for the result of your NCLEX exam and the result of your jurisprudence exam. And once the applicant completes all of this, the applicant can now apply for licensure in the province. And here is the corresponding fee as well. Now, for the Route 2, if the NSCN, after assessment, the applicant is required to successfully complete either the competence assessment, which is 2 to 5 days, or the nursing reentry program, which is a 1 year program. And this is usually at the RNPDC here in Halifax. Now, it all depends on the number of modules that you will be required to take, depends on how you are assessed by the NSCN, how many modules you will be taking for the reentry program. Um, and for the Route 3, it's the same thing as I mentioned in the LPN. It is for the applicants who are ineligible for registration and licensure in Nova Scotia. So the IEN may be able to find an alternative career, or if decided, they could go back to school and start their nursing education in Canada. Um, if I may mention something about the competence assessment and the nursing reentry program. Some of the IENs who had given this competence assessment had chosen instead to go to the reentry program. Again, this is a decision that an IEN will have to make because the competence assessment, you are going to go through an assessment process where you have to be competent and confident to demonstrate your nursing skills that meets the Canadian standard. So if you, for example, do not feel comfortable and very knowledgeable about the practice of nursing in Canada, you most likely you will not be able to meet the required um, result of the assessment. So if you don't meet the result, you will then be redirected to take the reentry program, that is the 1 year program. Do we have?
Looks like couple of
Do you have a
there
couple
is
of
couple of
questions?
comments in
Yeah,
Yes.
about
Is funding available? Okay.
no different one. When applying for CPLF,
yeah. Can I
one can
just
apply for
clarify? It's not CPLF anymore. It's Atlantic Immigrant Career Loan Fund. The
correct.
CPLF is the previous loan. This is a new loan program.
Okay.
One can apply for the regardless for the stage of IEN has processed. That's correct, right?
Yes, yes.
It doesn't have
Uh,
to be from the beginning. If you have already paid for some of your exams, we can start the loan from where you at for your
yeah,
current
we go back
standard.
6 months max. Like we go 6 months before, like, so if you applied 6 months ago and you paid for the registration and one more expenditure, like we will pay you for what we paid for. Like you
Okay.
will be reimbursed for that. Is this the question?
Yeah, so it was just asking, yeah, does it have to be from the beginning or can it start at any stage?
At any
So what
stage,
Moja,
yes.
yeah, it's any stage. And Moja is saying we could go back 6 months and reimburse you for some of the expenses out of your pocket that you have paid within the last 6 months. Another comment is that some of the IENs are doing Ontario LPN application first due to their language leniency. And then after being LPNs, they move to Nova Scotia to become RNs, where they usually need a visa for the bridging.
Yes, and they are eligible, so they will be
Yeah.
eligible still.
Uh, yeah. The other question is for the Atlantic loan application, should the applicant land province in Nova Scotia or it doesn't matter? It's in
It does,
Atlantic provinces, so it
yeah,
encompasses Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland.
yeah, and it doesn't matter where you landed as long as you are living in one of those four provinces. So you could have landed in BC, but then you moved to Nova Scotia, you are eligible, or any of the Atlantic provinces.
Before we leave the question about language leniency, Moja, can I touch a little bit about that? In Ontario, please make sure that I know that there is a little bit of differences in language uh, submission of requirements for between Ontario and Nova Scotia, but please know that if you are going to practice in Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia would require you to have your English proficiency test scored because that is a requirement for your safety, for the safety of the public, and for the safety of the profession. So, with regards to language leniency, there are now new understanding between and that is being offered by CNO, the College of Nurses in Ontario, that they can give you some exceptions, but there are some paperworks that you will have to submit and prepare. And if only you can satisfy those requirements, that you will be given the exception. Otherwise, you will have to go back again and do your preparation for your English test. So please make sure that if you have been hearing from other colleagues that they have been exempted in Ontario, make sure that you are clear in understanding that there are specific requirements that you have to fulfill and meet before you get that exemption. But when you move to Nova Scotia will be needing your English proficiency test result, either CELBAN or IELTS. Is there any other, before I move to the ISENS program, is there any other questions in the chat
I,
that
I think right
I
now
will?
we caught up with the questions. So
Yeah.
Okay. So next slide, please, Tanya. Now, I think this is a very important segment where I present the programs at ISANS for internationally educated nurses. And one of the program that is currently existing is called the Internationally Educated Nurse Orientation program that includes one of them is the Foundation for Nursing Practice in Canada. Now, ISANS is a nonprofit organization. We are not a school. However, this Foundation for Nursing Practice had been offering some support and assistance to IENs who are arriving in Canada, um, who wanted to learn about the basic nursing practice that they need to understand that may be different from their usual practice from the country of origin. This program has 16 nursing modules and is delivered weekly. These are facilitated by experienced professionals in the healthcare um, field and are very much aware of the challenges, barriers, and difficulties that internationally educated nurses go through as they work through licensure to practice nursing in Canada. This is offered online and in person, but currently, because of the pandemic, we are dictated to offer the um, modules online, which offers safety for everyone involved. And this is delivered twice a year in spring and winter. The IENs will be, if you can have a look at the presentations, there are photos involved here. So this is a very comfortable setting. We do not judge, we do not grade or mark your work. However, we bring to you a presentation, for example, the module on mental health nursing. A lot of us who had been abroad, mental health is not something that is openly discussed in our practice. It is a taboo topic. However, in Canada, every nurse should have a good understanding about the delivery of the mental health nursing practice. So, we kind of identify through our facilitators, we kind of identify what would be the information or the knowledge that we need to share to the IEN for them to have a good solid understanding about mental health in Canada. So what we do is every module of this Foundation for Nursing Practice, we have developed key concepts. We identify key concepts and we try to address them in every delivery of the module. Um, and you see here, the presenter will be doing presentations through PowerPoint, and everyone is allowed to speak, everyone is allowed to ask questions, everyone is encouraged to talk and verify the presentation or share their experiences based on what is taught or presented in the classroom. In here too, we do some quizzes just to prepare to get everyone familiar with the kind of sessions in a regular classroom, or we develop cases where the participants could partner up with their class with their colleague and talk about how to go through the case and present it. So in this way, we are trying to enhance the nursing knowledge of the IENs that may have been moot or because of the absence of being out of practice for a long time, they bring their knowledge in the discussion, and at the same time giving them the confidence to talk to their classmate, talk to their facilitator, and ask questions. So these are the things that we are seeing in the IENs, making them a little bit more comfortable in understanding what is nursing in Canada, and improving their communication skills within the healthcare setting environment. Here, another presentation here. This is a group. In if you can see my cursor here, they're working on their case presentation. We also do role plays. So one could be acting as the nurse, one could be acting a patient, so that we can again give you a simulation of how an interview process would be, how an assessment would be. So these are just these are the activities in a very comfortable setting. And at the end of the 16 modules, we invite all the facilitators and all those who participate, the attendees who successfully participated in the program. We give them a non-credit certificate just for them to have something in paper that they did participated in the course. And we bring them up to a wrap-up session where they could ask anything that they probably wanted to clarify or wanted to ask or anything. So the facilitators are there supporting them. Um, the good thing that the feedback, if I may allowed to share, that I am hearing from the IENs who had participated in this program is that when while they are waiting for their preparation for their licensure pathways and attending this foundation, they're able to connect with other colleagues, IEN, and become buddies in learning nursing in Canada, as they compare and support each other, compare notes and knowledge, and at the same time support each other. So it's a good um, place for you to connect and to find someone that could give you that you could work with and support each other during the pathways to licensure. Another thing that I heard from those who have attended this and progressed to their bridging program is that when they reach the bridging program classrooms, they do not feel isolated. They don't feel scared. They feel a little bit more confident because they have already heard a little bit of something here and there from ISANs that made them comfortable to sit and listen, and sometimes comfortable to even do a presentation. One example of the IEN that was shared to me is, we all know that we probably dispense let's pick I'll pick the pharmacology nursing. Back home, most of the prescriptions are written by the doctors, and then just the nurses just pick it up and then deliver it. But here, you are a clinician, a nurse, you are a clinician, you are the advocate for the patient, you are the educator for the patient, you are a family representative sometimes. So you have different roles. So when they were one of the example we given to me is, I didn't know, Elizabeth, how to compute and compute the medication. I don't know, because it's always given to me by the doctor. But here, you have to know what how to convert those those medications, because there is a formula that may be different from what you used to in your country. um, what else? Yeah, so there are so many differences, or there are educational gaps that we identify, and from different nurses from different parts of the globe. Canada, we are showing them and sharing with them the foundations that they need to learn and understand to become a nurse in Canada. So, next slide, please. So, this IEN study group, these are the group, if you notice, they are smaller. And these are the IENs who had, most of them had completed the foundations for nursing practice and the health assessment workshop at ISANS and have completed the bridging program at the RNPDC. These are the nurses who had already progressed from receiving the advisory report from NNAS assessed by the NSCN for either nursing or LPN and completed the program and now preparing for the NCLEX RN. So these are now the nurses who are here attending. Um, this session, I am very fortunate to have the support and assistance of volunteer facilitators who are IEN, um, who had successfully participated in the ISANS program and have successfully um, passed the NCLEX RN. So they're helping me facilitate this program. And the good thing about this is the material that we're using is similar to the what they use for the NCLEX RN, and by the presence of the IEN now are registered nurses, they're able to share the experience that they have. They point out some ways on how you can um, attack a question by reading through the question and what word you have to pick. Like there are so many um, um, tips that they could share you, and at the same time they guide you which areas that you need to focus on. And this I'd like to share that when we started this study group in October, out of the 14 IENs who had participated in this program, 12 of them have successfully passed the RN NCLEX exam and are now registered nurses and are currently employed in Nova Scotia. There's one that had chosen to work as a faculty at NSCC. So all of them are um, on their successful pathways to employment. What else do I have to add here? Again, this is a very comfortable setting. This is delivered every Tuesday and it's from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. And if I can share, this IENs do not take a break. I had to remind them that we need a 15-minute break. In that 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 15 minutes is all that we do. And it's very healthy. Everyone is participating. There's no of course there is a right answer to every question, but they are trained to um, trust themselves in identifying the right answer that will speak to the question being asked. So getting used to it, exposure to the question is definitely helping and guiding them. I think I can go to the next slide, please.
Elizabeth, like we
Yes,
answered the
please.
question, but you may want to answer it. It says,
Okay.
is this 16 modules different from what RNPDC is offering?
Yes, it is very different. Like I said a while ago, the foundations for nursing practice, we are delivering the program at a very basic level. Please understand that all the IENs that come to our doors at iSense have varying English language level. So how we deliver the the foundations for nursing is we accommodate six CLB, the Canadian language benchmark, um, of to 6 to 7.5, or sometimes even 8 are attending. IENs with CLB 8s are attending our program because they just want to have, they're hungry for knowledge and information, and they are in this class. We are only dealing with the basic foundation of each module of the foundation for nursing practice. Whereas in our NPDC, of course, that is the higher level of communication because as an IEN, you have already gone through the AR from NNAS. You have already gone through the CLB or IELTS, CELBAN or IELTS. You have already passed those. So we now know that you are now on the higher level of communication, that you are now in the, this is our NPDC subjects are offered close to you getting licensed. So it's a more in-depth, more what else can I say? More in depth
Agent,
and go
yeah.
ahead, please, Moja.
I just wanted to say that, like, the RNPDC, once you reach RNPDC, means that you are approved by Nova Scotia College of Nurses to go
Yes,
and complete whatever is required to become licensed.
yes.
In our case, we deal with you once you are at language level 6, which is pretty minimum for
Mm-hmm.
nursing, because you have to be at level 8 and 10 in some of those, and it introduces you to the way we nursing is done in a Canadian environment,
Yes.
and it's taught by registered nurse educators, like people who have been practicing and who have been educating. So you can't look at our program as a way to become licensed. It's
Mm.
more to prepare you to enter
Prepare.
the nursing field.
Thank you, Moja. Yes,
Thanks.
yes. So, um, do we have other question? I'd like to look at the chat box just in case there's some question that pertains to the program.
And can I
Some other questions are mostly related to loan, and we'll definitely address those as we go through your
yeah, like,
Okay,
participation.
okay.
and the bridge, like, the money is available for the bridging program with RNPDC, so you can borrow the money through the loan program for RNPDC.
So, now, can I have the health assessment, please? I think back, yeah. So another component of the IEN orientation program that ISANs offer is the adult health assessment workshop. From our experience in meeting with our clients, we understand that not lot of the IENs have had experience of doing health assessment. All of the assessment again are done by their doctors in their respective workshop. We partner with NSCC and the RNPDC who where we rent the facility to have the adult health assessment. This is a facilitated workshop where we will be demonstrating the assessment process in every system, like the cardiovascular, neuro, and respiratory. Um, and this is a full day workshop. What happens here is the facilitators will be giving the demonstration, and with the use of either the mannequin or sometimes they partner the IENs. As long as they're comfortable with it, their partners, they partner up and make it a live patient nurse, workshop. So you will be you will be the facilitator will be doing the demonstration, and then you practice the process to your, among yourselves with your partner, and that's a full day. So in the morning, there's also the presentation where with your partner, we will provide you a case. We will work with your mannequin or your with your partner, and gather and do the presentation. And this is a very, I. This is one thing that we notice. Even the facilitators sometimes are so amazed because all of a sudden the conversation is so intense that all of them the knowledge is just overflowing in the classroom, and this is one way that we have seen nurses come out as nurses from back home. This They are so overjoyed that they feel in that in that setting, they feel like they're working as nurses again, and it's just a good experience for them, and they're so motivated to speak up and do their own presentation. And we do this workshop twice a year. So for those who have attended the foundations for nursing practice, are invited to attend the workshop. Um, mm, okay, we can go to the next, please. The topic is specific nursing educational session. So, I am not a nurse, but I am very familiar with the needs and the challenges, barriers of the IEN, because I am surrounded with nurses in my family and in my community and my friends. So, and I do connect with them. I hear them. I listen to what they need, and through the program and with my team at iSense, we develop something that is more specific of how we can address your needs. And that is why the program is really um, connecting with the IENs as they are starting to venture on their licensure pathways to become licensed nurses. So this one, for example, in the delivery of in one of the sessions of the foundations, I noticed that again mental health is an issue, but here a lot of the IENs as well. Because they don't have a strong exposure in working in long-term care facilities in their country of origin, they now are confused. Is this a mental case, or because the client is starting an early dementia, or is showing symptoms of Alzheimer's disease? So I kind of pick up those while I'm in the classroom. Those are the things that I observe. And when I noticed that if the facilitator in the limited 2 hour presentation is not able to cover all the important aspect, and I see that the faces of the clients are kind of clouded leaving the classroom, I know that I needed to find a support, be an external facilitator or be a specialist who could talk more about this. And this is what you see here in the topic specific nursing educational session. We try to address we try to supplement what is already covered in the foundation, so that the clients, the IENs, will have a better understanding in the areas that they didn't feel comfortable, in the areas or topic that they were not exposed from their previous experience. So here, one of this is the mental health in elderly that I have organized in order to supplement the mental health nursing and the care for the elderly, which is part of the geriatric nursing. Another thing that I organize too is I just love organizing topics, right? So I know that in Canada, specifically, of course, speaking in Nova Scotia, we in the healthcare are exposed to the many diverse population, which in our country of origin we are probably just exposed. For example, I'm from the Philippines. I probably am just exposed to occasional American, tourist that became a patient, or but mostly I'm exposed to Filipinos in my country, or an IEN from Nigeria will be mostly taking care of clients from Nigeria. But here in Nova Scotia, we have all the diverse population that we all have to fairly serve and render our expertise. So I included the session on inclusion, diversity, and inclusion in the healthcare, because I think it is very important part of our learning in all of the healthcare professionals. So in this, I collaborated with the other bridging programs at iSense. This forum here includes the medical doctors, the dentists, and the pharmacies, and these are the programs that I collaborate with in finding support for the IEN. So we are working for you, for the healthcare professionals. And next slide, please. Now, the most significant impact of the program is there is, like I mentioned just a while ago, the enhanced collaboration to support the IENs with partner organizations who are involved in the licensure pathways. One example of that is tomorrow we are the ISENS is hosting the town hall meeting for internationally educated nurses, and this is our third time to offer this meeting for to provide information on licensure pathways, and we are so fortunate to have the support and partnership of the NNAS, the National Nursing Assessment Services, who are doing their own presentation, providing you updates that they wanted to share as dictated by the COVID pandemic. We have the NSCN, the Nova Scotia College of Nursing. They will be doing their own presentation as well on the licensure pathways and sharing with us the updates. We also have the Lens, who is administering Salban examination here in the province. Again, updates and information. Isons, who is coming here to talk about the Atlantic Immigrant Career Loan Fund, the um, the program that has been mostly accessed and widely accessed by internationally educated nurses in the registration for assessment throughout the licensure process. And before I forget, I would like to mention something about the AICLF, my strong collaboration with the program. Um, a lot of the IENs are so afraid to take the loan. What they do is, oh, we will just work overtime so that we can have the money and then we can use the money to do the registration and assessment. Please be very careful in that decision because you have to understand there is a timeline in the application process. When you delay so much, you have to think about your safe practice. There is an expiry for that, and you can never earn enough to save enough to pay for your registration or to even get started with your registration because the reality of it is we do have expenses in our day-to-day living, and of course sometimes priority are the basic needs. So it's always being pushed aside when you're ready and when you have earned the money for the registration. So here comes the Atlantic Immigrant Career Loan Fund. It will support you through your licensure pathways, and it's a microloan that, like my manager here had mentioned, that will kind of get you going to start your, as long as you're ready, of course, you can get you going with your licensure pathways. One good thing that I remembered one IEN had shared to me is that, Elizabeth, I'm so glad that you had mentioned, because I invited my colleague to talk about the AICLF in my program, and reached out to that and she applied, and I didn't know what happened next, right? Until she wrote me a feedback and said, Elizabeth, I'm so glad that you connected us to iSense because I had been working overtime and I could not concentrate on my courses because I've been thinking about my shift and rotation in the evening, and then I go to my class in the morning. So with the help of the loan fund, she was able to at least um, spread out her work and then focus more on the learning. It makes more sense because it's hard to concentrate when you're supposed to be learning what you can to become a nurse at the RNPDC for the bridging program. And if your mind is somewhere else, you are just physically there without really understanding what you need to take home after attending this session.
And
So
just to add to you, Elizabeth,
yes, please.
with this person, I think she ended up working less hours and she
Yes.
accessed living expenses.
Yes.
So
Yes.
about
Yes.
800. Yeah.
So you can the thing here is you've been hearing about the Atlantic Immigrant Career Loan Fund. One thing that I will advise to you is if you think you now know as I presented a while ago the associated cost to register to become licensed in Canada, from assessment to sending your documents, to translating your documents, to sending your documents. If you think that the accumulated cost is not something that you can cover, please talk to your employment specialist at ISANS, or if you are not registered client at ISANS, please do register and become a client of ISANS. It's free and we welcome everyone from everywhere. We are here to help and support you. But once you're registered, you will be referred to your employment specialist who can refer you to the person to talk more about your about the Atlantic Career Loan Fund and fit into your specific needs, because every IEN have different financial needs. So, and if you think that you will need this in the future, please start the process, because you don't wait until the time that, oh, I need it next month. It doesn't work that way. So it's very important for you to understand what is being offered, what are the requirements, and if you're even eligible. Am I correct,
And
Moja, that they can
yes,
start the
please.
process
And
and then on standby?
yeah, and if you visit www.aiclf.ca, you can find like it's gonna click and there is a line where it says, "Are you eligible?" You can answer the questions, and
Mm-hmm.
after the questions, it will tell you you are eligible or you are not.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is a new feature in the on the loan in the
Okay.
website. So please do.
Okay. I think where's my present? Okay, thank you. So um and okay, so increase one of the impact of the program is increased awareness in identifying IE and education and skills gap with the Canadian standards of practice. I think I covered that when I talk about the foundations and the RNPDC program. Then better preparation and fulfilling requirements. Yes, because we provide you the information and for you to make a good decision for yourself moving forward through the licensure process. So we are here to inform to give you the information, provide you some answers to the question, and for you to make the decision for yourself. And with all the collective and collaborative support that we provide you, there's more probability in passing the exam and getting licensed to practice either LPN or RN, in hoping that you choose Nova Scotia and stay in Nova Scotia. Next slide, please. So to be before I go to this, I would like to. I am looking at the chat box because I am expecting some questions about the English proficiency test score. I will mention it anyways, and I would like to make this announcement that we are fortunate that Selban is here in Nova Scotia. I think 2 or 3 years ago, Moja, that you
Yeah.
the group ISENS together with the stakeholders group that work hard to support the IENs have collectively worked together to bring Selban in the province. So when Selban became accessible, it lessens the expenses for the IENs because they didn't have to travel to Ontario anymore. But
Mhm.
they keep on asking us, where can we get Selban support? So with the collaborations of our language team at ISANS, um, and again the stakeholders group, we have now the support for Selban, and it is called the Strategies for Selban. It is a pilot project, and this is a very, I would say, concretely tailored program where the contents are diligently researched by the program developer in order to address the the difficulties that most of the test takers have experienced. So she had done so many. There are some. I think she consulted a lot of the appropriate organizations who are involved in Selban when she developed this program. And if you are an IEN who is preparing to take the English proficiency test, please contact your employment specialist if you are a registered client of iSense, and they will make you the referral. But right now, what I can tell you is if you're interested in accessing this program, please go and have your CLB assessment done because it is one of the requirements. Um, Go
And
ahead,
can
Moja.
I just mention
Yes,
that
please.
this program is open as like I know with the eligibility for the bridging program, it says that everybody is eligible, even if you are international graduate or AIP client or
Okay.
temporary foreign workers. The same for the language course.
Okay.
So for SILBAN preparation as well, whatever your immigration status is, you are eligible.
Okay. For the eligibility for the strategies for Salban is different from the language minimum language eligibility here. In my program, the orientation program, the CLB I explained a while ago is we can go as low as 5, but with the strategies of Salban, you have to I think have at least 6 at the lowest score for an IE and to be accepted to be registered with the strategies for Selban. If I can say something, the reason being is we don't expect that if a client has a CLB of 6 and attend the strategies for Selban, that they will jump up their score to 8 or 9. So we have to give them a realistic expect. We have to be realistic on what you will expect after attending the program, and we have seen that someone who has a CLB of 7 most likely will be able to jump uh, by one
At
point
least.
or 1.5. But definitely, if you are on the CLB of 6, we will not admit you and forget about you. But what we can do is provide you a support through our language services that is specific to the level where you can be gaining more benefit in preparation to attend this strategies for Salvan.
And they can attend also communication for healthcare
Healthcare.
professionals
Yes.
if they are at level 6. So they are,
Hmm. Yeah.
which will prepare them as well.
Actually, if you have with this presentation, there are so many ways that you can search on your own to help yourself in improving your communication skills. Um, you can just watch YouTube videos and play those medical scenarios where you can be more familiar with the words that you probably did not hear before or probably heard it but did not get used to writing it or speaking it. But here in Canada, you will be more exposed to the English communication among your fellow healthcare professionals because English is the only way that we can safely work together, understand together, and be in one page. Next slide, please. I think that's it. My presentation. Um, we can Joey, if you are in the call, if you probably have, can a registered nurse access this
Yeah,
fund to advance?
yeah, and I answered this question. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
If you
So
become a
if,
registered nurse and you want to advance, absolutely. Like the loan program is not only for regulated occupations as well, it's for regulated and non-regulated occupations. If you want to advance your skills or upgrade, definitely you can apply for the loan. But it doesn't cover a student loan eligible costs. So if you have to go to school for 2 years, it's better for you to go through the student loan. But if you face problems with the student loan, then you can come to us and we will look at at your situation. But anything that's not eligible for student loan, you can access that.
I did not focus much on the licensure pathways from NNAS, but I really encourage everyone to just go to the NNAS website and learn more and be familiar with the process. And if you are thinking about becoming a licensed practical nurse or an RN, go to NSCN. They are now merged into one organization, but of course they have separate entities for LPN and RN because these two are they both are nurses, but they have different scope of practice.
And
Um,
Elizabeth, do you want to mention like where you are getting now with the nurses living in different areas? They are accessing the program from other outside
yes.
HRM.
Okay.
Do you
Thank
want to
you.
mention that, please? Yeah.
Yes. With the delivery of the program virtual, a lot of the IENs who are located in rural Nova Scotia are now able to join the program. They are now connected to their employment specialist, so we can do our virtual meeting. And a lot of the IENs have been hearing about this program from colleagues who had been in this program and they had good experience and they're sharing it. Some of our IENs may know me in the community. So how it works is that it's not how you know me. You have to register as client of ISANS, and you have to go through the process of registration because we don't want you to miss out other support services that you may be able to access that you can benefit for free. For example, which I mentioned a while ago, if we meet you, we know more about you, we learn about your goal, we know about your plan, but we noticed that we needed to strengthen your communication skills, and there is an available program where you are eligible to attend. Your employment specialist will send you there so that we can start the process of developing you to be more comfortable when you attend the programs that exist to support the nurses.
And
And
can
go
I
ahead,
just
please.
answer a question before you complete? Kuya Roland, he's asking if we are able to present in New Brunswick about the pathway to licensure. We would love to, but what I can suggest, I'm gonna work with the New Brunswick Multicultural Council,
Mhm.
and we can join them in a presentation, and they can so we can share our expertise, and they can bring people also from New Brunswick because it really makes sense for them to lead such a
Yes.
presentation, and we
Yeah.
will be happy to provide our expertise as well.
Mhm. Um, Moja, can we invite one of them maybe who is involved in the licensure pathways to come in and join the town hall tomorrow? What do you think?
Because
But
we don't have any clients living in New Brunswick,
yeah,
right?
because
All
they
our
have, yeah,
clients.
they should, yeah. And
If
the discussion tomorrow as well is geared towards licensure process in Nova Scotia. So, yeah, I think your suggestion, Moja, to talk to your multicultural
Yeah,
council
I'll
network is the best. Yeah.
yeah, I'll talk to New Brunswick and people, and definitely we will connect with you, Roland.
Yes. Do we have any? Did I miss any important um, information that I need to share? I think I've covered
You just, if you
most.
can, just you have resources, right?
Yes. One thing. Oh, thank you, Moja. You are so excellent. So, iSense as well provides you. There are available resources at iSense. We have reference books, and we update our nursing library very often. We have NCLEX RN review books. We have also partnership with healthcare healthcare libraries in Nova Scotia. So if you are an iSense client, we can endorse you or introduce you to the healthcare sciences library like the IWK and the Kellogg, that they allow you to borrow some of the books that are available in their libraries.
Perfect.
Um, Uh, and I would like to mention that this nursing, the orientation program started small, and but it has grown bigger and wider, reaching not only the clients from HRM, Halifax, and Dartmouth, but also clients as far as Truro, Annapolis Valley, and New Glasgow. And I am not, I am one person that you probably see and meet when you come and talk to have the orientation, um, to be a part of the program. But behind me um, are my colleagues who are strongly supporting the work that we do, the program, and the IEN. So the two of them are with me. Moja Alia, my manager for the employment and bridging, and Tanya Matthews, my supervising team lead. So I will be seeing you in the classroom. This will be the face that you will see on screen. But
Mhm.
when it comes to decision making and making proposals for additional segment or portion that we can add in the program, I have a huge team that helped me make those decisions and make those happen. So when you are at iSense, we try to provide you the holistic support until you completed your licensure, and then you go back to your employment specialist that will give you the preparation to now apply as registered nurse in Nova Scotia.
Mhm.
So there are programs that you can avail at iSense.
Perfect.
I think, are we still on? There's a little lag in my headset, so I don't know if Joey is if we're finished or not.
And we
No
don't have
question.
any questions like I believe that Koya Roland is saying that they are partnering with an MBC,
Hmm.
NBMC. That's great.
Yeah.
And I know that Elizabeth attended the session last night, so that's wonderful. But we will see if we can, if they can offer licensure, uh, pathway to licensure sessions, and we will help them run those sessions.
I think with that, if we don't have any more question, Tanya, is there anything that you may want to add that I missed out or that you can think
No, I
of?
just want to thank you publicly for all your work. I think the big thing that comes from you, Elizabeth, is your patience with all the IENs and patience to realize what are the gaps, what else we can offer, and what else they may need to be successful in the licensure process. So thank you so much for your work.
Mhm. And they call her the mother of nurses.
That's right.
That makes me so old. I really miss seeing you, everyone. I'm unfortunately, um, I am not very good at technology, and but one day we will see each other in a better view of the technology at my end. Um, but yes, this is Elizabeth Eustaquio de Munden, who has provide you the information session. And I thank everyone for your time. And I would like to really thank East Coast Filipino Portal, the team of Alan Dingin, Donick Abad, Joey Moreno, and Kojen Gutierrez, who had given us the opportunity to provide information to the wider public about the licensure pathways to becoming a nurse in Nova Scotia. And yes, we are selling Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful province, and ISENS is doing a great job in keeping our nurses in Nova Scotia, and I thank everyone who is involved in this for all the support.
And I just want to thank also Al and team, East Coast, everybody, Joey, for giving us this opportunity because it's a great way for immigrants to learn about our programs. And we are planning a few sessions, like we are talking everybody with East Coast about running a number of sessions for physicians, pharmacists, dentists, accountants, engineers. So you will be seeing us much more. but it's only for your own benefit. So thank you so much. And I want to echo what Tanya said about Elizabeth. Elizabeth is such an amazing, like, uh, person to have with at iSense and to support international educated nurses. She works in her with her mind and her heart. She, like, it's
Oh,
not it's not
true.
an easy, so like an easy job. So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Tanya, for staying this late, both of you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, East Coast. Thank you, Al, Joey, Danik, everybody, whoever helped us become part of the Filipino Association. Thank you.
Am I allowed to just say, I know they probably are expecting that I'm from the Philippines, that I'll be talking their language, but
Go
we are
ahead.
inclusive. We are very inclusive and so diverse, and we wanted to address, deliver this information session to everyone. But please allow me to say, mabuhay at magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Okay, translate.
Thank you. Salamat is thank you, and
Okay.
mabuhay is greetings and thank
Oh,
you.
interesting. That's
Yes,
great. Thank you.
yes.
Okay.
So is Joey coming back to us, or um,
Maybe
it?
Al or Joey.